Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Pleb Underground. You like that intro? A little bit shorter, a little bit better. I've had comments from people tell me the intro's too long, too short. So I figured there you go. Nice and fast. Let's get down to it, guys. I hope that you had a great weekend. I did a lot of projects around the house, guys, trying to keep my mind off of the fact that Bitcoin might be in trouble. Womp womp. I'll just let you know right now it's not. But there's a whole bunch of people that are obviously incentivized. They've got paychecks relying on this, okay? So, for the sake of argument, Bitcoin is in trouble, and we're going to take a look at why. Anyways, but also there's some solid hopium, right? Because of course, we've got more people talking about how the lows are in for Bitcoin. Right? We've got, what else? We've got Blackrock revealing that all kinds of institutions, nations, sovereigns, they're all buying the dip, supposedly. Another thing that we like to look at is how Bitcoin's downside compresses. We're also going to take a look at some phishing. I guess it's not even really phishing emails, but it's phishing snail mail. We're going to take a look at that stuff. And of course, guys, the biggest risk to Bitcoin, the quantum risk, which, we keep debunking over and over again. But for whatever reason, we keep having to revisit this. Quantum FUD, just like the minor death spiral FUD. It's like luggage. You just don't get rid of it. Anyways, we're also going to take a look at some news out of different countries, right? Brazil introduces a bill to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And of course, we're actually diving into those details. So it's not going to sound like the Hopium dealers have sold you on. So get ready for that one. Indiana advances a bill to allow state retirement fund to invest in crypto ETFs as well. And we've got a fellow Bitcoiner that made sovereigntax.io. I think it's the blue collar Bitcoiners, or one of the blue collar Bitcoiners. So we're going to take a look at that. And we have Samourai letter number 4. That's right. We're going to take a look at that. You know the deal, guys. Let's get to it. We got a whole lot to cover. A whole lot of stuff happened over the weekend. Here we go. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. Yeah, I don't quite understand what happened with the caps lock there. Anyways, must have fat fingered that one. Okay, so, all right, the current Bitcoin price. Hey, look at that. Finally, one of my titles actually matched with the price action. It's like a broken clock. Gonna get it right once in a while, aren't I? Anyways, the Bitcoin price, we're dead at 67K. What else here? The total public lightning capacity, 5,677 BTC. It's just like a fluctuation of like 30, 40 Bitcoin from last week. No big deal. And the fastest fee, 1 sat per VByte. Apparently the it's not expensive to use Bitcoin, huh? Not that expensive. Are we? Yeah. We are poors now. And it's okay. It's okay because while we are poors, it gives us a chance to maybe step back, not look at this with so much hopium, and look at this more with the eyes of I don't want to get wrecked. Let's do that. Hey, how about that one? Okay. Let's continue on. We're done with that. Let's dive right into the stories, guys. Right into the stories. We're going to kick it off with this post here from Kip. I don't even know what the word is. It's like an Ivy League name. Kip. Anyways. So his call, the lows are in for Bitcoin. Below we see that IBIT had a clear selling climax with a record level of volume just as BTC hit its third most oversold level in history, the RSI. And right, this is what I've been talking about the whole time. We've got the fear and greed index for Bitcoin hitting its most oversold level in history as well. IBIT hits extreme oversold on steroids, our most oversold levels on the VRA system. Okay, so by the dip, I guess. Right? It's by the dip time. And here we go. We got all of their little indicators here. You can see on the left, and they are down. and to the right. They've bottomed. Take that for what it's worth. To me, the way I see it is, it's a good time to stack sats. All right. We've also got some hopium from the Treasury Secretary. So apparently, right, the thing that is missing the most is we need these bills to pass. And look, I'm not going to say that there isn't some truth to this because, look, after all, we are humans, we are people, and we're, in some cases, waiting to see what the wonderful people at the state level are going to do. So this is really no surprise at all. Let's take a listen to what Scott Bessent had to say.
Crypto communities. So, in a time when we are having one of these historically volatile sell-offs, I think some clarity on the clarity bill would give great comfort to the market, and we could move forward from there. So it's very important to get this done. And I think if the Democrats were to take the House, which is far from my best case.
Okay. I don't really care about the right and the left, but the whole crap about the clarity bill, right? It's all just for shitcoins, guys. Look, in fairness, I understand, of course, right? Bitcoin's going to pump, right? Because it's all just market exuberance and we're all humans. But at the end of the day, those clarity bills, they have nothing to do with Bitcoin, right? It's all about stable coins. It's all about crypto. It's all about yields. It's all about making sure that the pie gets cut up amongst the biggest players and nobody cries about being the loser. That's all it is. It's got nothing to do with Bitcoin. So sounds great. Makes people happy. Giant nothing burger. Giant nothing burger. Anyways. But that's what he's waiting for. Okay, here we go, guys. More hopium. Every Bitcoin cycle, the downside compresses. That's right. Volatility is declining. Demand is increasing. I mean, look, this is the kind of hopium, right, where I zoom out and I say to myself, I'm good with this. I'm good with this, right? This was kind of, believe it or not, this was kind of one of my fears like 8-9 years ago was, are we going to end up seeing these massive drawdowns that I've already experienced? And again, right now, it's being called a little bit early. I'm not trying to dampen, right? I'm not trying to dampen the mood or rain on my own parade, right? But we're 45% down now. It's only the beginning of 2026. If that whole 4-year cycle, human behavior cycle is all intact, then therefore, unfortunately, we still have a little bit of a ways to go. I obviously don't want to believe that, of course, right? But I just got to mentally prepare for things not going the way that I expect, obviously. Okay, anyways, let's continue on. More hopium on the way, guys. That's right. We're kicking this week off. It's just solid hopium all the way down the line. That's right. BlackRock just revealed institutions, sovereigns, and banks are buying the Bitcoin dip. Let's hear what this analyst had to say.
Out there that it's a bunch of hedge funds in ETFs that are creating volatility and selling. That's not what we're seeing. If you look at IBIT last week, on a week that was tumultuous, obviously, in the Bitcoin market, we had 0.2% of the fund redeem, right? So if there actually were hedge funds that were massively unwinding trades that they were running in the ETF, you would have seen billions out. We saw many billions liquidated on these levered perp platforms. The ETFs have been very steady. It's a much more long-term buy and hold type investor base.
Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, and this is not new messaging, right? I mean, the video, the clip is actually newer, right? It's from last week or late last week, but the messaging is very much the same. And that is that these ETF hodlers, that it's not that they quote unquote have diamond hands. It's just that it's not the same thing. Like most of the people that are buying this kind of stuff, like it's just, they want to set it and forget it, right? They don't want to sit there and have to watch the basket every day. Okay. Like and I'm not saying that you have to do that with Bitcoin. I definitely don't sit there and watch the basket every day, but well, it depends on how you look at that. Actually, the more I say that, right? Because is looking at the chart all day long, watching the basket? I just like watching the movement. I don't know. It could just be cognitive dissonance. I could just be lying to myself to make myself not feel like a degen. Who knows? Who knows? Anyways, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's move on here. We've got some state news. We love the state. I'm kidding. Do not love the state. Indiana advances the bill to allow state retirement funds to invest in crypto ETFs with a do pass recommendation. Okay, let's take a look at that. The committee also accepted an amendment to remove a key pension investment from the what? It previously would have allowed the state to invest public retirement plan assets into into ETFs. Interesting. So I think this is misleading. I don't think this is correct. Indiana advances the bill to allow state retirement funds to invest in crypto ETFs with a do pass recommendation. An amendment to remove key pension investing provision from the House Bill 1042. It previously would have allowed the state to invest public retirement plan assets into crypto ETFs. All right, frankly, we just need to work on it over this year. The product is not doing extremely well. The proposal would still allow members of certain plans to choose self-directed brokerage accounts offering crypto investments. The committee discussed at length another amendment removing those provisions. Okay, so that doesn't seem like the bullishness we're being sold here from the state. It looks like Indiana doesn't really care. And in fairness, right, I've said this so many times before. I don't give a shit about the state stacking Bitcoin. I care about an individual. I care about the individual person that is choosing to store their time value in Bitcoin. That's all I care about. And I understand that's not every narrative that's at play, right? Bitcoin is for enemies, it's for everybody. But for me, that's all I give a shit about. Bunch of politicians, bunch of states holding Bitcoin. That's nothing. It's pointless. It's a fantastic show. I get it. It pumps the bags, makes us happy. Yay, adoption. But at the end of the day, we need something that serves the individual. We've seen enough of the state getting served, okay? It's okay. We know the state wins every time. We don't need to see this game over and over again. Okay, anyways, let's dive into a little bit more stuff here. The Brazil news. Wow. Massive aspirations from Brazil, right, guys? Massive aspirations. Brazil reintroduces the bill to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve, allowing the country to acquire up to 1 million Bitcoin. Man, that sounds so good. And Brazil's going to do so good. So excited. I'm really excited. They're going to be able to buy 1 million, right? 1 million Bitcoin for sure. For sure. Nothing can stop them. Nothing's going to stop them. So the bill would allow the country to buy up to 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years. That's a nice bill. The draft also permits the use of Bitcoin for settling federal taxes and fines. Okay, they want your Bitcoin, no surprise there. The bill is currently undergoing committee review, making its way toward potential passage. Yeah, why not? Sounds fun. Now let's dive into the reality of Brazil actually being able to acquire 1 million Bitcoin without completely decimating their entire country. As if it already hasn't been kicked in the nuts enough times. Anyways, Brazil has not officially acquired Bitcoin as a sovereign state reserve. So they have 0 Bitcoin right now, right? It's currently debating a major legislative proposal bill to create a strategic sovereign Bitcoin reserve, RESBIT, aiming to acquire up to 1 million Bitcoin. And of course, right, the cheerleaders want to make you think countries are buying Bitcoin. I just showed you a clip, right? How Blackrock had that dude on. He was talking about how the countries are buying Bitcoin. I don't see how the hell Brazil's going to buy Bitcoin. Not with the real, they're not. They sure aren't. They're not using that. Promise you that. Now, let's dive a little bit more into this whole respite thing, right? Because how are they going to acquire Bitcoin, right? How have they acquired Bitcoin? Well, there's these publicly traded companies that isn't the states, but could become the states, right? Like Orange BTC. We've got a few influencers that have bags of that are invested in the Bitcoin treasury companies. And look at that. Look at the seized assets, guys. Oh, no way. The proposed legislation respite includes a provision to prohibit the auction of Bitcoin seized by judicial authorities, ensuring that previously confiscated BTC remains under public control, essentially turning seized crypto into state. Oh my gosh, no way. Oh. So you're telling me a country is going to just confiscate people's Bitcoin? That's how they're going to build a strategic reserve? Say it ain't so. Hey, good morning, Matt. Good morning, RS Guides. Yeah, Who the fuck cheers for this stuff? Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for people to get their Bitcoin stolen. Go the state, pump my bags. That is some serious, pathetic Stockholm syndrome. Just pointing that out. Okay, that's what that is, right? That right there is just the typical moral hypocrisy that is found in all of us humans, all of us. All right, moving on from the state news. This is hilarious. And by the way, shout out Sai for tagging me on this one. This is freaking hilarious. Bitcoiners, be careful out there. I know you're like, Phil, this is not funny. It is, though. This letter came by USPS and claimed to be from Trezor. Now, guys, this is fantastic. Okay, so here's the letter, right? It says Trezor up here. Down here, you've got this QR code. So you install this some weird, stupid authentication check software, which really just, gets you wrecked. You end up losing all your Bitcoin. But this is the funnest part. Okay, keep in mind, this is a supposed letter from USPS through USPS from Trezor. Now let's zoom in on the signature. So look, this is great. So it's from Trezor, but yet it's the Ledger CEO. Okay, it's the Ledger CEO, Mitesh Zak. Who falls for this shit? Who really falls for this shit? That is just absolutely brutal. Anyways, guys, just be safe out there. Okay, you're never there's no hardware, there's no signing device company that is sending you letters like this that you need to go and install some piece of software, and if you don't, then your signing device is just no longer going to work. You got to remember that, especially devices like Trezors or even cold cards and stuff like that. Like, these are meant to be cold storage devices. So this nonsense that you're getting this email, or this mail from the manufacturer that's expecting you to install a piece of software so that it can continue to run. This is just nonsense garbage. Total nonsense garbage. Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go. This is the fun part. This is where Bitcoin might be in trouble. You see, it's not clickbait, even though it's a clickbaity title, but it's not clickbait. So here we go. This was... you gotta love how Nick Carter's star rising just equals him being down bad further and further. So here we go. They're gonna fire the devs and put in new devs. Oh.
I'll tell you what I think is going to happen, and I don't want to scare anyone. I think the devs will probably continue to do nothing. They say that there's some stuff happening. There's not a lot. And I think the big institutions.
So Nick has drawn a line in the sand and has decided, right, that the work that Elizabeth Fox and Duke and Hunter Beast and the third person, which eventually I'm going to be able to name all three of them at some point, right? The BIP 360, the work they're doing, it's nothing, right? It's nothing. And I'll tell you why it's nothing, guys. It's nothing because it's not what Nick Carter is selling. See, if you're working on what he's selling, then you're solving the problem. Okay? That's how this works. Pump my bags.
That now exist in Bitcoin. They didn't before. They didn't in the 2x scaling wars debate.
They still don't. JP Morgan, Blackrock, they're not writing any code. They're not submitting any BIPs. None of that shit. They don't care. It's just fucking coping.
Basically no institutions. They will get fed up and they will, if for lack of a better word, fire the devs and put in new devs. If you're Blackrock and you...
How? Like you'll notice, like he offers, because it's just FUD, right? It's just complete nonsense. And this is the quantum FUD guys that we're dealing with. Okay, they're gonna fire the devs. Fire them from what? From where? These guys contribute from all over the world. They don't work for some company.
Have billions of dollars of client assets in this thing, and its problems not being addressed. What choice do you have? So I think this, if unaddressed by the devs organically, would lead to a corporate takeover, a successful one.
Well, that was the most ridiculous FUD I've ever heard. And of course, it would come from somebody so extremely well-spoken whose star is just constantly rising. Rising so fast, actually, that this person needs to constantly sell you that Bitcoin is in trouble and it's going to die. But he's got a solution, right? Because he owns this venture capital company called Castle Island Ventures, and they're working on a solution that he's monetizing. I'm just glad somebody cares about Bitcoin like Nick does. It's really important to me. I know, right? The music is what makes it amazing, right? Don't you understand the concern? He's thought about this so deeply. He cares so deeply about Bitcoin. It's amazing. Yeah, I also want to speak to the Bitcoin managers, Train Johnson. I want to speak to the Bitcoin managers and not forget them. I want to speak to the Bitcoin CEO. I want to speak to the Bitcoin franchisee. I want to know what they're doing to save my beloved Bitcoin. I need to know. Anyways, all right. So the best part of Bitcoin, paying taxes. No, it's not. Anyways, but look, guess what? The state does have a monopoly on violence. I know that there's some people who have, fancy methods and stuff like that, getting around all of that stuff, right? But for those of us, am I muted? Am I muted all of a sudden? Or no? I don't know. It shows that my audio's still there. Is my audio not there? Muted? Am I muted? I can't tell. I'm not seeing. Oh, okay. I'm good. Okay. Oh, damn. I was like, come on. I did this all right the whole time. I swear. Anyways. Okay. Sorry, guys. No, it's all good. Free RS guys. I appreciate it because, I can't tell from my side, And on top of that, I'm a Gen Xer, which is practically a boomer. So, at some point, I'm just not going to know how to turn on my computer. That's inevitable. Okay, so yeah, the taxes, guys. We all love paying taxes. It's fun. The state loves you, and if you want to show the state how much you care, right? You give some of that money, you give it up. So blue collar Bitcoin, though, blue collar Bitcoin has decided. He's like, you know what? We don't want you guys to have the headaches anymore. Okay, we know that nobody likes paying taxes. Let's try to make this as easy as possible for the people paying taxes. And here we go. He's made this tax tool. And what else? What else did he do with this tax tool? What does it do? Calculates capital gains cost basis from CSVs. Okay, great. Runs simulated sales for tax planning. Nothing ever leaves your machine. No cloud, no accounts, no API keys. Encrypted locally. And I have a feeling also that this is like, I think he mentioned that this is like a one-time pay. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. For context, here's what you're choosing between right now. Coin Tracker, cloud-based. All right. You got to pay an annual fee. Coinly. I never even heard of Coinly. I've heard of Coin Tracker. And Sovereign Tax. Right now it's $49 one time. And I believe after this week or this month, it goes up to $100. Anyways, I think it's pretty cool. You know what? That's a good question. I don't know if they're doing their podcast anymore. But that was one of the ones that I thought was legit, Yeah, it's unfortunate, right? Like what people start to figure out, and I know it's going to sound terrible, but it is the truth, okay? So if you want to, it's like if you want to actually make these types of podcasts into a business, right? So either, you can create a whole bunch of clickbait and, make a whole bunch of stuff that's extremely misleading and getting a whole bunch of clicks and views and growing your audience in that way. You could also just simply take money from some of the businesses that could get their customers wrecked, right, with yield and with centralized exchanges and stuff like that. But those are the businesses in Bitcoin that usually have the most money. And those are the people that you're going to be stuck taking money from. So if you're not willing to take money from those people, right, because you're just simply, you're passionate about Bitcoin and you want to talk about Bitcoin, you don't want to get people wrecked, that leaves you with a much smaller circle of businesses that you can attract for sponsorship. That's all, so I don't know what they're doing. Hey, plastic. Okay. Anyways, let's take a look at this little demo video that he's got going on here. Let's take a look at this. I like the way it looks. Hate taxes. Don't get me wrong. Hate taxes. Don't endorse taxes, but the state has a monopoly on violence. And I am a small dude. So just not going to do well in jail. That's all I'm saying. Okay. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, look, this looks solid. Nice and clean. And it's a one-time, like everything is on a subscription model now. So I think it's really cool that, that he made this without it being on a subscription model. So Bitcoiners, if you're looking for a solution for this, check that out. And of course, all of this stuff is always in the show notes, guys. Everything is in the show notes. Okay, here we go, guys. Letter number 4. That's right. Pardon Samourai, Free Keone, and Bill. Let's take a look at letter number 4. So here we go. Prison is a totally alien environment. Everything is seemingly backwards and designed to frustrate you. As many prisoners have said to me, BOP stands for backwards on purpose, and they really aren't wrong. Here's a quick example. Because the U.S. taxpayer is now responsible for my health and well-being, I have been placed on a waiting list for a dental check, cleaning, and any basic work that might be needed, filling or extraction, for example. Being a logical person, I concluded that the wait would not be too long considering the population of FPC Morgantown is so low, around 160 inmates. When well over 800 can be held here, it wouldn't take too long for my name to reach the top of the list. I was then informed that the waiting list includes all inmates within the entire BOP at every facility. So even though our dentist here only has 160 people to see, I must wait for someone in Oklahoma who is higher than me on the list to receive treatment before I can be seen. Backwards on purpose. Nothing works logically or as expected. Don't forget to sign the petition. And if you feel so inclined, don't forget to donate. Guys, that's going to do it for this episode. This episode of Pleb Underground. I really appreciate you all joining me. I appreciate your time. And don't forget, this evening, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Ulrich, Humble, and myself, we're going to be talking about all kinds of fun stuff. It is going to be super spicy. If you guys want to join in the conversation, as you know, you can be a part of the chat, right? And we can all be talking back and forth, and you can be calling us on our BS. It's a great time. And also, this Friday, so I'm going to be doing the daily news like normal at 12 p.m. However, at 6 p.m., Sir Ulrich and I are going to have Jimmy Song on the show. So all kinds of craziness this week. It should be a good time. Guys, have a great rest of the day. Catch you all tomorrow.